Theo was a man addicted to tomorrow. Not in a hopeful way, but in a restless, endless chase. Every morning, he woke up already late for something. Every night, he slept feeling like he had done nothing at all. His life was a blur of alarms, deadlines, crowded streets, and silent dinners. Thick. The world around him was loud, honking cars, ringing phones, people calling his name. But inside, it was painfully quiet. Because no matter how much he achieved, something within him kept whispering, "It's not enough. You are not enough." So, he kept running, and in all that running, he never once looked down. If he had, he would have noticed the one thing that never left him, his shadow. The shadow lived a life no one could see. While Theo walked in the light, it was stretched and broken across rough ground. When he stood tall in bright offices, it was crushed beneath strangers' feet. When rain fell, Theo ran for shelter, but the shadow was dragged through mud, scattered in puddles. Still, it followed him silently, faithfully, but never seen. Yet, somehow, they shared the same pain. Theo stood in rooms full of applause and still felt completely alone. Beneath him, pressed against cold floors, the shadow carried that same emptiness. A quiet loneliness and a simple wish, just once, let me be noticed. Then one evening, everything changed. It was raining, the kind that slows the world down. Theo stood under a dim street lamp, shoulders heavy, eyes tired. He dropped his briefcase. For the first time in a long time, he didn't rush. He just stood there, breathing. Then, something felt wrong. He lifted his hand, but the shadow didn't move. Theo froze. Slowly, he looked down, and for the first time in his life, he truly saw it. The shadow wasn't just a shape anymore. It stood slightly apart, no longer following, no longer copying, just existing. And in its stillness, Theo saw something unexpected. Exhaustion, a deep, silent tiredness, like something that had given everything and received nothing. His chest tightened. For years, he thought he was alone, but here it was, a silent companion that had carried every step of his life without ever asking for anything. And he had never ever noticed. "I didn't know," he whispered. The shadow said nothing. It didn't need to. Because in that moment, Theo understood. He was never truly alone. Something had always been there, holding him even when he was falling apart. And for the first time, the shadow was seen. Not ignored, not forgotten, seen. And in Theo's eyes, it finally found what it had waited for, acknowledgement. He slowly knelt down, rain soaking through him. "I'm sorry." The words were quiet, but heavy. I was so busy chasing everything that I forgot what was already with me." The shadow didn't move, but somehow it felt lighter. Because sometimes being seen is enough to heal years of silence. From that night on, Theo still moved forward, but not the same way. He slowed down. He noticed things. He noticed people. The quiet friend who always listened. The parents who never asked for anything. The small, unseen kindness in everyday life. And sometimes, when the light fell just right, he would look down and smile. Because he finally understood, you don't need a crowd to prove you are not alone. Sometimes, the ones who matter most are the ones who never ask to be seen. We spend our lives chasing the light, success, recognition, applause, believing one day it will make us feel complete. But in that brightness, we forget the shadows, the silent supporters, the unseen sacrifices, the people who stay without asking for anything. It's true, and the truth is, they don't leave loudly, they don't argue, they don't demand attention. They just slowly fade. One day, life becomes quiet. The calls stop. The messages feel fewer. the room feels emptier. And in that silence, a thought begins to echo. There were people who held me together, and I never even said thank you. Theo learned what many realized too late. Loneliness is not always about having no one. Sometimes, it comes from ignoring the ones who are always there. So, before life teaches you this lesson the hard way, pause, look around, notice the people who don't ask for attention, the ones who stay even when you have nothing to give. Because those are your real pillars. Those are your shadows. Jet. Light may help you shine in front of the world, but it is the shadows that stay with you when the world turns dark. So, don't wait. Don't wait for distance to create value. Don't wait for absence to create love. Because by the time you turn back to stay, I see you. I appreciate you. They might not be there anymore. T. And nothing hurts more than realizing you are never alone. You were too busy to notice.